I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra. 500 disciples received prediction, chapter 8. At that time, Puna Maitreya Niputra, having heard the Buddha teach the Dharma in accord with what is appropriate, through wisdom and skillful means, conferring predictions of Anuttara Samyasambodhi upon all the great disciples, giving an explanation of the causes and conditions of former lives, and furthermore, describing the Buddha's mastery of great spiritual powers, experienced what he had never experienced before. His mind was purified and he rejoiced. Thereupon he rose from his seat, went before the Buddha, bowed with his head at the Buddha's feet, and withdrew to one side, gazing upward at the Elder One's countenance, not diverting his gaze for a moment. He then thought, the world One is most special and unique. What he does is unusual. Drawing on skillful means and his knowledge and wisdom, he teaches the Dharma in accordance with the various dispositions of living beings, thus releasing them from various types of attachment. We could never fully express in words the merit of the Buddha. Only the Buddha, the world One, can know our deepest thoughts and past vows. At that time, the Buddha said to the bhikshus, do you see Puna Maitreya Niputra? I constantly praise him as being foremost of those who teach the Dharma, and I also extol his various merits, his vigorous efforts, and his diligence in protecting, supporting, and propagating my Dharma. He can guide and teach the fourfold assembly, bringing them benefit and joy. He perfectly interprets the proper Dharma of the Buddha, greatly benefiting his fellow practitioners of pure conduct. With the exception of the Tathagatas, no one can outdo him in his eloquence in speech and his ability to debate. Do not think the Buddha supports and propagates only my Dharma. He also protected, supported, and propagated the proper Dharma of 90 devotees of Buddhas of the past. Among the Dharma speakers during those times, he was also foremost. Furthermore, he has thoroughly understood and mastered the Dharma of emptiness taught by those Buddhas, and has attained the 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom. He always studies the Dharma carefully and expresses it in a pure manner, without doubt or confusion. He has perfected the Bodhisattva spiritual powers. Throughout each lifetime, he has always cultivated pure practices. All the Buddha's contemporaries regarded him merely as a Shravaka, yet he has benefited innumerable hundreds of thousands of living beings through skillful means. He has also transformed innumerable asamkhyajas of living beings, inspiring them to resolve on Anuttara Samyasambodhi. In order to purify all the Buddha lands, he constantly devoted himself to the Buddha's work, teaching and transforming living beings. Bhikshus, Purna was foremost among those who taught the Dharma during the time of the past 7 Buddhas, and he is also foremost among those who teach the Dharma in my presence. He will also be foremost among those who teach the Dharma during the time of all the Buddhas yet to come in the auspicious eon. He will protect, uphold, and propagate their Dharma. In the future, he will continue to protect, uphold, and propagate the Dharma of countless limitless Buddhas, teaching and benefiting countless living beings, and leading them to resolve on Anuttara Samyasambodhi. In order to purify all Buddha lands, he will always be diligent in teaching and transforming living beings. He will gradually perfect the Bodhisattva path, and after countless asankhya eons, will attain Anuttara Samyasambodhi in this land. His name will be Tathagata Dhamma Brilliance, one worthy of offerings, one of right and universal universal knowledge, one of perfect clarity and conduct. Sugata, knower of the world, unsurpassed one, subduing and regulating hero, teacher of gods and humans, Buddha and world owner one. This Buddha's land will consist of tranquilly horizontal as many as the grains of sand in the Ganges, with the 7 treasures for earth. The land will be level like the palm of one's hand. It will have no mountains, hills, brooks, streams, or ravines. It will be filled with pavilions and terraces made of the 7 treasures. The heavenly palaces will be located nearby in space, so that humans and gods can interact and be within sight of each other. There will be neither lower rungs nor women. All living beings will be born through transformation and have no sexual desire. They will acquire great spiritual powers. Their bodies will radiate light, and they will be able to fly at will. Steadfast in their resolve, they will be vigorous and wise. Their bodies will be golden in color and adorned with the 32 hallmarks. The living beings in that land will always take 2 kinds of nourishment, Dharma joy and dhyana bliss. The multitude of bodhisattvas, countless asankhya's of tens of millions of kotis of nayotas in number, will attain great spiritual powers, and the 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom. They will be skilled in teaching all kinds of living beings. The number of Sravakas will be beyond calculation. All will perfect the 6 spiritual powers, the 3 spiritual insights, and the 8 liberations. The realization of this Buddha land will be thus adorned with innumerable meritorious virtues. His yang will be called true brilliance, and his land will be called excellent purity. The lifespan of that Buddha will be countless asankhya eons, and his Dharma will last for a very long time. After that Buddha's parinirvana, stupas made of the 7 treasures will be built throughout the land. At that time the world owner one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse. O you bhikshus, listen attentively to the practices followed by the Buddha's disciples, because they are well versed in skillful means. Their practices are beyond conception, knowing that the multitudes delight in lesser Dharma and feel great wisdom. The Bodhisattvas for this reason manifest as Sravakas or Pratyeka Buddhas, employing countless skillful means. They teach all classes of beings. They proclaim themselves to be Sravakas, who are very far from Buddhahood. Saving countless multitudes, they bring forth them all to accomplishment. Even those of less aspiration who are indolent are gradually led to Buddhahood. Inwardly they carry out bodhisattva practices, while outwardly presenting themselves as Sravakas. They have few desires and are disgusted with birth and death, but in fact they are purifying their Buddha lands. Pretending to all that they have the 3 poisons, they act like they also have wrong views. In this way my disciples expediently save living beings, who I truthfully describe the various forms they take in teaching others. Living beings hearing of them will be perplexed and have doubts. This disciple, Purna Maitreya Rinpoche, and the thousands of kotis of Buddhas of the past, diligently apply himself to cultivating the path, propagating and protecting the Dharma of all Buddhas, in his quest for supreme wisdom. In the presence of every Buddha, he appears as a leader among the disciples, the most knowledgeable and wise. Fearless in his teaching, he caused the multitude to rejoice. Never did he grow weary of aiding the Buddhas in their work. Having attained great spiritual powers and perfected the 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom, he knew the faculties of beings, sharp or dull, and always taught them pure Dharma. Proclaiming principles such as this, he taught thousands of kotis of multitudes. As he led them to abide in the Dharma of the great vehicle, he was purifying his own Buddha land. In the future, he will also make offerings to countless limitless Buddhas. By protecting and propagating the proper Dharma, he shall also purify his own Buddha land. Always using skillful means, he will teach the Dharma without fear, bringing incalculable multitudes to maturity. He will realize omniscient wisdom. Having made offering to the Tathagatas and protected and supported the treasury of Dharma, he will in due course become a Buddha, known as Dharma Brilliance. His land made of the seven treasures will be called excellent purity. His young will be called jewel brilliance. His land will be filled with a great multitude of bodhisattvas, countless devotees in number, all skilled in great spiritual powers, and revealed with virtuous dignity. There will also be a Sangha community comprised of numerous Ravakas who will attain the three spiritual insights, the 8 liberations, and the 4 kinds of unobstructed wisdom. The living beings in that land will all have separate sexual desire, born purely from transformation. Their bodies will be adorned with the 5 hallmarks. Feasting on Dharma, joy, and dhyana bliss, they will desire no other sustenance. There will be no women there, nor any of the lower rungs. Bhikshu Purna, having perfected his merit and virtue, will gain a pure land like this, inhabited by many worthy sages. As to these countless matters, I have given only a brief summary. At the time the 1200 arhats whose mind had attained so much result, we have all experienced joy such as we never had before. If the world on the world would confer upon us a prediction of future Buddhahood, as he has done for the other great disciples, would that not be a cause for rejoicing? The Buddha, knowing the thoughts in their minds, said to Mahakashyapa, I will not confer upon these 1200 arhats, one by one, predictions about Nuttara Samkhya Sambodhi. My great disciple Bhikshu Ajna Kamdinya, who is present in his assembly, will make offerings to 62,000 kodis of Buddhas. Having done this, he will become a Buddha, known as Tathagata Universal Brilliance, one worthy of offerings, one of right and universal knowledge, one of perfect clarity and conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, unsurpassed one, subduing and regulating hero, teachers of gods and humans, Buddha and world owner one, the 500 arhats, including Uruviyuva Kashyapa, Gaya Kashyapa, Nadi Kashyapa, Kalodayin, Udayin, Aniruddha, Revata, Kapina, Bakula, Chunda, Svagata, and others will attain Anuttara Samkhya Sambodhi and will all have the same name of universal brilliance. At that time, the world owner one, wishing to recite his meaning, spoke in verse. Bhikshu Kandinya will see limitless Buddhas. After Asankhya years have passed, he will realize complete perfect enlightenment. Constantly emitting great light, he will perfect all spiritual powers. His name will be known in the 10 directions, and he will be revered by all. He will always teach the unsurpassed path, and will therefore be called universal brilliance. His name will be pure, with bodhisattvas of great vigor. These bodhisattvas will all ascend wonderful pavilions and roam throughout the lands of the 10 directions. They will take with them supreme offerings to present to our Buddhas. Having made these offerings with minds full of great joy, they will instantly return to their own lands. Such are the spiritual powers they will have. The lifespan of the Buddha will be 60,000 years. His proper Dharma will last twice as long. His semblance Dharma will be twice the length of that. When his Dharma disappears, the gods and humans will grieve. The rest of the 500 bhikshus will each in their turn become Buddhas, all by the name Universal Brilliance. He shall confer prediction upon his successor, saying, after I enter Parinirvana, so and so will become a Buddha. The world in which he teaches will be like mine today. The adornments of his land, his spiritual powers, the multitudes of bodhisattvas and Shravakas, his proper and semblance dharmas, his lifespan and the duration of his year will all be as previously described. Kashyapa, you already knew about these 500 who have attained self-mastery. As for the remaining Shravakas, the same prediction applies to them. You should convey this to those who are not present in this assembly. At that time, the 500 Arhats, having received predictions from the Buddha, were overjoyed. They rose from their seats, went before the Buddha, and bowed with their heads at his feet. Repenting of their errors, they reproached themselves, saying, World Owner One, we have always thought we have already attained ultimate nirvana. Now we realize that we were ignorant. Why? We should have attained the Tathagata's wisdom, yet we were content instead with petty knowledge. World Owner One, this is like a person who went to a close friend's house, got drunk on wine, and lay down. His friend, who had to go out on official business, sewed a priceless pearl into his clothes as a gift and left. That person in a drunken stupor was not aware of anything. On waking up, he set out on his travels and reached another country where, for the sake of food and clothing, he spent much effort, endured great hardships, and was content with what little he got. Later, his close friend happened to meet him again and said, Hey, my friend, how could you, for the sake of food and clothing, have come to this? Once wishing you to enjoy peace, happiness, and the pleasure of the 5 desires. On such and such a day, month, and year, I saw a priceless pearl into your clothes. It is still there, yet you are unaware of it. So you have toiled and suffered in seeking your livelihood. How foolish of you! You may trade this pearl for what you need, and in the future you will always have whatever you wish and be free from want. The Buddha is also like this. When he was a bodhisattva, he taught us, inspiring us to resolve on omniscient wisdom. But later we completely forgot, becoming oblivious and unaware. Having attained a hardship, we claim to have attained nirvana. In the difficulty of sustaining our livelihood, we were content with what little we had gained. Still, our aspiration for omniscient wisdom remained. They have not been lost. Now the world has awakened us, saying, Bhikshus, what you have attained is not ultimate nirvana. For a long time, I have been teaching you to plant the good roots of a Buddha. As a skillful means, I show you the entry into nirvana, but then you thought you had actually attained nirvana. World Owner One, now at last we know that we are actually bodhisattvas, having received predictions of Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. For this reason we have experienced great joy as never before. At that time, Ajnata, Kandinya, and the others, wishing to restate their meaning, spoke in verse, hearing his supreme voice, give predictions that bring peace and tranquility. We experience great joy as never before, as we bow before the Buddha of limitless wisdom. Now in the presence of the World Owner One, we repent of our faults and mistakes. Of the limitless wealth of the Buddha, we had gained but a small portion of nirvana. Like ignorant fools, we were satisfied with our attainment. This is like a poor person who goes to a close friend's home. His house is richly furnished, yet he serves an array of delicacies, sewing a priceless pearl into the lining of the poor man's clothes. The friend silently departs, while the poor man sleeps unaware. When the poor man wakes up, he travels to another country, seeking food and clothing to sustain himself. He barely manages to eat our living. Satisfied with what little he earns, he desires nothing better. He is unaware that within his clothes there is a priceless pearl. The close friend who gave him the pearl sees the poor man again later, and having bitterly rebuked him, shows leading us to make supreme vows. But because we lack wisdom, we were not aware and did not know. Having gained a small portion of nirvana, we were satisfied and saw nothing more. Now the Buddha has awakened us, saying that we had not attained the real nirvana. Not until we have gained the Buddha's supreme wisdom will we attain the ultimate stillness. Now having heard from the Buddha, his predictions, the adornment of our lands, and the successive temporal predictions, our bodies and hearts are filled with joy. And the 500 disciples received predictions. Chapter 8. Predictions for those in need of study and those beyond study. Chapter 9. At that time, Ananda and Rahula thought, we have often thought how delighted we would be if we were to receive predictions for future Buddhahood. Then they rose from their seats and went before the Buddha, bowed with their heads at his feet, and said in unison, Lord Honorable, we too should have a share in this, for we go only to the Tathagata for refuge. Furthermore, we are known and recognized by the gods, people, and assurers of all the worlds. Ananda is always your attendant, preserving the treasure of the Dharma, and Rahula is the Buddha's son. If the Buddha were to give us a prediction of Anuttara Samya Sambodhi, our wishes would be fulfilled, and the hopes of the assembly would be realized. At that time, all 2,000 Shraddha disciples, those in need of study and those beyond study, rose from their seats, bared their right shoulders, and went before the Buddha. Single-mindedly they put their palms together and gazed upward at the world on the one. Having expressed the same wish as Ananda and Rahula, they withdrew to one side. At that time the Buddha said to Ananda, in a future age, you will become a Buddha, known as Tathagata, king of self-mastery and spiritual powers with wisdom like the mountains and seas. One worthy of offerings, one of right and universal knowledge, one of perfect clarity and conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, unsurpassed one, subduing and regulating hero, teachers of gods and humans, Buddha and world owner one. You will make offerings to 62 codies of Buddhas, protecting and preserving the treasure of the Dharma. After that, you will attain Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. You will teach and transform as many bodhisattvas as the grains of sand in 200 million codies of Ganges rivers, leading them to realize Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Your land will be called banner of victory always raised. The land will be pure, with Vaidya for ground. Your ear will be called pervasive roar of pleasing sound. The lifespan of that Buddha will be countless tens of millions of codies of Asankhya eons. If someone were to reckon the number through tens of millions of codies of countless Asankhya eons, he would not be able to determine it. His proper Dharma will remain in the world for twice the length of his lifespan. His semblance Dharma will remain for twice the length of his proper Dharma. Ananda, the merits of Buddha, king of self-mastery and spiritual powers with wisdom like the mountains and seas, will be praised in unison by all the Buddhas, Tathagatas of the 10 directions, as many as the grains of sand in countless tens of millions of codies of Ganges rivers. At that time the world owner one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse. Now in the midst of the Sangha, I say the Ananda, who preserves the Dharma, will constantly make offering to our Buddhas, and afterward realize perfect awakening. His name will be king of self-mastery and spiritual powers, with wisdom like the mountains and seas. His land will be pure, and will have the name, banner of victory always raised. He will teach and transform bodhisattvas, equal in number to the grains of sand in the Ganges, endowed with great awe-inspiring virtue. This Buddha will be known throughout the 10 directions. His lifespan will be immeasurable because of his compassion for living beings. His proper Dharma will last twice as long as his lifespan, and his semblance Dharma will last twice that long. Countless living beings, as numerous as the Ganges sands, Within this Buddha's Dharma, we open causal conditions leading to Buddhahood. At that time, the 8,000 newly resolved bodhisattvas within the assembly all thought, we have never heard any great bodhisattva receive a prediction such as this. Why should the Shravakas now obtain such a prediction? Then the world one, knowing the thoughts in the minds of the bodhisattvas, said to them, Good man, Ananda, in the presence of Buddha, King ascended in the sky of Dharma, simultaneously resolved on Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Ananda was always inclined to learning, while I always put forth diligent efforts. For this reason, I already succeeded in attaining Anuttara Samya Sambodhi, whereas Ananda protects and upholds my Dharma, and will likewise in the future preserve the Dharma treasure of all Buddhas, teaching and bringing to accomplishment the multitude of bodhisattvas. Such is his past vows, that he now receives this prediction. Ananda, while facing the Buddha, heard his own prediction and the adornments of his land. His wish is fulfilled. He experienced great joy as never before. Immediately, he recollected the Dharma treasury of countless tens of millions of codis of past Buddhas, thoroughly understanding it without obstruction, as if he had just heard it. He also recalled his past vow. At that time, Ananda spoke in verse. The world on the one is extremely rare. He has led me to recollect the Dharma of countless Buddhas of the past, just as if I had heard it today. I now have no further doubts, and settle myself on the Buddha's path. Expediently as their attendants, I will preserve the Dharma of all Buddhas. Then the Buddha addressed Rahula, saying, You in a future age will become a Buddha known as Tathagata, storing on flowers of 7 treasures, one worthy of offerings, one of right and universal knowledge, one of perfect clarity and conduct, Sugata knower of the world, unsurpassed one, subduing and regulating hero, teachers of gods and humans, Buddha and world owner one. You will make offering to Buddhas, Tathagatas, equal in number to the thus most in 10 worlds. You will always be the eldest son of those Buddhas, just as you are mine now. The adornments of the land of Buddha storing on flowers of 7 treasures, the number of years of his lifespan, the number of disciples he will teach, and the duration of his proper semblance dharmas will be exactly the same as those of Tathagata, king of self-mastery and spiritual powers with wisdom like the mountains and seas. You will also be the eldest son of that Buddha, and afterward will attain Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Then the world owner one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse. When I was a crown prince, Rahula was my eldest son. Now that I have realized Buddhahood, he, having received my teaching, is heir to the Dharma. In a future age, you will meet countless codis of Buddhas. You will be the eldest son of each, wholeheartedly seeking the Buddha's path. Only I can discern Rahula's hidden practices. He now appears to living beings as my eldest son. His countless thousands of codis of merit are beyond calculation. He is firmly anchored in the Buddha Dharma as he seeks the supreme path. At that time, the world owner will perceive that the 2,000 people in need of study and beyond study were receptive, still, and pure, and were attentively beholding the Buddha. The Buddha said to Ananda, Do you see these 2,000 people who are in need of study and beyond study? Yes, I see them. Ananda, they will all make offering to Buddha, Tathagatas, equal in number to the thus most in 50 worlds, revering and honoring them, and preserving the treasure of their Dharma. Afterwards, they will simultaneously realize Buddhahood in the worlds of the 10 directions, and will all be known by the name Tathagata Jewel Appearance, one worthy of offerings, one of right and universal knowledge, one of perfect clarity and conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, unsurpassed one, subduing and regulating hero, teachers of gods and humans, Buddha, the world's honored one. Their lifespans will last 1 year. The adornments of their lands, the number of Sravakas and Bodhisattvas, and the duration of their proper and semblance dharmas will be the same for all. At that time the world honored one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke first. To these 2,000 Sravakas now standing before me, I give a prediction that they will realize Buddhahood in the future. They will make offerings to as many Buddhas as the number of Dharmas previously stated. After preserving the treasure of their Dharma, they will realize perfect awakening. Each of them, throughout the length of the 10 directions, will have one and the same name. Seated at their sides of awakening, they will simultaneously realize supreme wisdom. They will all be named due appearance, their length, the number of their disciples, and the durations of their proper and semblance dharmas will be the same, without any difference. Using their spiritual powers, they will save living beings in the 10 directions. They will be widely renowned as they gradually enter nirvana. At that time, the 2,000 disciples, in need of study and beyond study, hearing the Buddha bestow this prediction, rejoiced greatly and spoke first. World honored one, radiant light of wisdom, hearing the sound of these predictions, our hearts are filled with joy, as if we had been anointed with sweet dew. And the predictions for those in need of study and those beyond study. Chapter 9. Dharma Masters, Chapter 10. At that time the world honored one, Soul Medicine King Bodhisattva, said to the 80,000 great beings, Medicine King, do you see this great assembly of countless gods, dragon kings, Yashas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, Maharagas, and beings both human and non-human, as well as bhikshu, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas, those seeking to become Sravakas, those seeking to become Pratyeka Buddhas, and those seeking the Buddha's path. If any being such as this, in the presence of the Buddha, hear the one verse or one sentence of the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, or have even one thought of rejoicing in it, I shall confer upon them predictions that they will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. The Buddha said to Medicine King, furthermore, after the Tathagatas of Parinirvana, should there be those who hear and have even one thought of rejoicing in but a single verse or a single sentence of the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, I shall also confer upon them a prediction of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Furthermore, should there be those who uphold, read, recite, explain, or write down even a single verse of the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, looking upon this sutra with reverence, as they would a Buddha, making various kinds of offerings of flowers, perfumes, jewel necklaces, scented powder, fragrant ointment, incense, silk and canopies, banners and pendants, clothing and music, or even joining their palms in reverence. Medicine King, you should know that such people have in the past made offerings to 100,000 kotis of Buddhas. In the presence of those Buddhas, their great vows were realized. It is out of compassion for living beings that they are born as humans. Medicine King, should someone ask you what type of living beings will become Buddhas in the future, you should reply that these very people will certainly become Buddhas in the future. Why? If good men and good women uphold, read, recite, explain, or write out even a single sentence of the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, make various offerings to this sutra, such as flowers, perfumes, jeweled necklaces, scented powder, fragrant ointment, incense, silk and canopies, pendants and pendants, or clothing and music, or respectfully join their palms. All those in the world should look up to them in reverence and make offering to them as if they were Tathagatas. You should know that these people are great bodhisattvas who have realized Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, out of compassion for living beings, they have vowed to be born in this level. To expound in detail the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, how much the more does this apply to someone who can uphold the entire sutra and make a variety of offerings to it. Medicine King, you should know that out of compassion for living beings, these people have renounced their own karmic reward purity, and after my parinirvana will be reborn in the troubled world to extensively expound this sutra. If after my parinirvana, such good men or good women can explain in private to a single person even one sentence of the Dharma Flower Sutra, you should know that these people are envoys of the Tathagata, sent by him to carry out the Tathagata's word. How much the more is this the case for those who can, in the midst of a great assembly, extensively explain this sutra to people. Medicine King, should evil people appear before the Buddha, and with malicious hearts, slander and scold him constantly for the length of an eon, their offense would be relatively light compared to the offense of a person who speaks even a single evil word, reviling those who read or recite the Dharma Flower Sutra, be they laity or monastics. That person's offense would be grave indeed. Medicine King, should there be those who read and recite the Dharma Flower Sutra, you should know that these people adorn themselves with the adornments of a Buddha. They will be carried on the Tathagata's shoulders. Wherever they go, people should welcome them and make obeisance attentively and with palms joined. People should pay them reverence, make offerings to them, and honor and praise them. They should be offered flowers, perfumes, jewel necklaces, scented powders, fragrant ointment, incense, silk and candle beads, banners and pendants, clothing delicacies, and various kinds of music. The finest offerings that can be found in the human realm should be offered to them. Heavenly jewels should be scattered over them, and clusters of heavenly treasures offered to them. Why? These people take delight in teaching the Dharma. Those who hear it for even an instant will ultimately attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. At that time the world on the one, wishing to recite its meaning, spoke in verse. If one wishes to dwell on the Buddha's path and attain self-originating wisdom, he should make offerings with vigor to those who uphold the Dharma flower. If there is anyone who wishes to quickly attain omniscient wisdom, he should uphold this sutra and make offering to those who uphold it. If there is anyone who can uphold the wonderful Dharma Flower Sutra, you should know that he was sent by the Buddha out of compassion for living beings. Those who can uphold the wonderful Dharma Flower Sutra have renounced their pure lands and been reborn here out of compassion for living beings. You should know that such people are free to be born wherever they wish and can in this troubled world teach far and wide the supreme Dharma. One should make offerings of heavenly flowers, perfumes, heavenly jewel garments, and heavenly exquisite treasures to those who teach this Dharma. Should there be anyone who can uphold this sutra in the troubled age after I enter the parinirvana, you should venerate him with palms joined, as if making offering to the world owner one. Fine foods, mirrors, sweet delicacies, and various kinds of clothing should be offered to this disciple of the Buddha, hoping to hear him teach this sutra even for a moment. If in a future age someone can uphold this sutra, that person will have been sent by me into the human realm to carry out the Tathagata's word. If one throughout an entire eon always harbors unwholesome intent and scowls disparaging the Buddha, he will commit innumerable grave offenses. If someone were for an instant to speak ill of the person who reads, recites, or upholds the Dharma Flower Sutra, his offense would be even greater. If one in his quest for the Buddha's path throughout an entire eon, with palms joined in my presence, praises me with countless verses. Because of his praise of the Buddha, he will acquire limitless merit. But one who praises the upholder of this sutra will get blessings in death. Suppose one throughout 80 kotis of eons has made offerings of the finest forms, sounds, scents, flavors, and tangible objects to those who uphold this sutra. Having made offerings in this manner, if he hears this sutra for but an instant, he should be filled with joy, thinking, I have gained great benefit. Medicine King, now let me tell you, among all the sutras I have ever taught, the Dharma flower is foremost. At that time the Buddha spoke again to Bodhisattva Mahasava Medicine King, saying, all the countless tens of millions of kotis of sutras I have taught, and teaching and will teach, the Dharma flower sutra is the most difficult to believe and the most difficult to understand. Medicine King, this sutra is the esoteric and essential treasury of all Buddhas. It must not be casually distributed or transmitted to people. All the Buddhas, the world honored ones, have guarded and protected it. From the distant past until now, they have never openly expounded it. Since this sutra incites so much hatred and jealousy, even when the Tathagata is present, how much more hatred and jealousy will there be after his parinirvana? Medicine King, after the parinirvana of the Tathagata, should there be those who can write out, uphold, recite, and make offerings to the Dharma flower sutra, and explain it to others, you should know that the Tathagata will cover them with his robe. The present Buddhas in other directions will protect and cherish them. These people will have great powers of faith, powers of aspiration, and powers of myriad good roots. You should know that these people are dwelling with the Tathagata, who will rub the crowns of their heads with his hand. Medicine King, wherever this sutra is taught, read, recited, written out, or just exists, one should build a stupa made of the 7 treasures of great height and width, and embellish it with ornaments. It is not necessary to place such reward in it. Why? The complete body of the Tathagata is already in it. This sutra should be honored with offerings of all kinds of flowers, incense, jewel necklaces, silken canopies, banners and pendants, music and hymns. It should also be respected and praised. If people see this stupa, bow before it, and make offering to it, you will know that they are close to Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Medicine King, there are many people who, whether at home or having renounced the home life, practice the Bodhisattva path. If they are unable to see or hear, those who read, recite, write out, uphold, or make offerings to the Dharma flower sutra, you should know that these people have not yet perfected the cultivation of the Bodhisattva path. If there are those who are able to hear this sutra, then they are able to skillfully practice the Bodhisattva path. If living beings who see the Buddha's path get to see or hear the Dharma flower sutra, and having done so, believe, understand, and uphold it, you should know that these people are approaching Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Medicine King, it is like a person who is thirsty and in need of water. Although he digs for it on a high plain, all he sees is dry earth, and he knows that water is still much deeper. He continues his efforts unceasingly, and eventually sees moist earth, followed by mud. He is then certain that water must be close at hand. The Bodhisattvas are also like this. You should know that those who have neither heard nor understood nor practiced the Dharma flower sutra are still far from Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. You need to know that those who hear and understand it, think upon it, and practice it are drawing closer to Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. Why? All Bodhisattvas and the Anuttara Samya Sambodhi they attain are encompassed within this sutra. This sutra opens up the provisional approach to reveal the characteristic of ultimate reality. The treasury of the Dharma flower sutra is deep, solid, recondite, far-reaching, and unfathomable. Now the Buddha in teaching and transforming the bodhisattvas and bringing them to accomplishment is granted for their sake.
Medicine King.
If a bodhisattva, upon hearing the Dharma Flower Sutra, is startled, doubtful, or fearful, you should know that he is a newly resolved bodhisattva. If a Sravaka, upon hearing this sutra, is startled, doubtful, or fearful, you should know that he has overbearing pride. Medicine King. If there are good men or good women intending to teach the Dharma Flower Sutra to the fourfold assembly after the parinirvana of the Tathagata, how should they go about it? Those good men or good women should enter the Tathagata's room, put on the Tathagata's robe, sit on the Tathagata's robe, and only then extensively expand this sutra to the fourfold assembly. The Tathagata's room refers to the heart of great compassion toward all living beings. The Tathagata's robe refers to a gentle and forbearing mind, and the Tathagata's law refers to the emptiness of all phenomena. Well established in this, they will tirelessly and extensively explain this Dharma Flower Sutra to the Bodhisattvas and the fourfold assembly. Medicine King. From other lands, I shall send 100 people who will gather the populace to listen to their teachings.
I shall
Also conjure up bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas to listen to the Dharma they explain. Upon hearing the Dharma, all these 100 people will accept it with faith and comply with it without defiance. If the Dharma speakers dwell in secluded places, I shall send a great number of gods, dragons, ghost spirits, Gandharvas, Asuras, and others to listen to them explaining the Dharma. Although I am in other lands, I shall at all times enable the Dharma speakers to see me. Should they forget a single line of the sutra, I shall prompt them, enabling them to give a complete explanation.
At that time,
the World-Honored One, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse. One who wishes to be rid of laxness should listen to this sutra. This sutra cannot be heard easily. Accepting it with faith is also difficult. It is like a person thirsty and in need of water, who digs for it on a high plain, and sees only dry pasture earth. Knowing that water is still much deeper, gradually he sees moist earth and then mud. He knows for sure that water is near. Medicine King, you should know that people who do not hear the Dharma Flower Sutra are very far from the Buddha's wisdom. Should they hear this profound sutra, they will clearly ascertain the nature of the Sravaka's Dharma. This sutra is the king of all sutras. You should know that those who hear it and ponder upon it are close to the Buddha's wisdom. If there are those who are to teach this sutra, they should enter the Tathagata's room, put on the Tathagata's robe, and sit on the Tathagata's robe. Fearless in the face of the assembly,
they will expound the sutra
to them in detail. Great compassion is the Tathagata's room. Gentleness and forbearance are the Tathagata's robe, and the emptiness of all phenomena is the Tathagata's robe. Established in this, they will teach the Dharma. When they expound this sutra, if someone should scold them with harsh words, or attack them with knives, sticks, tiles, or stones, bearing the Buddha in their minds, they will endure it all. In tens of millions of cotis of lands, I appear in a pure solid body. For countless cotis of eons, I expound the Dharma to living beings. After my parinirvana, if there are those who can teach this sutra, I shall send a conjure for assembly of bhikshus, bhikshunis, and men and women of pure faith to make offering to those Dharma preachers. I shall gather the living beings together and guide them to listen to the Dharma. Should someone listen to harm them
with knives, sticks, tiles, or stones,
I shall conjure people to guide and protect them. Should the Dharma speakers dwell alone in quiet and secluded places, free from the sounds of human voices, and recite this sutra, I shall then appear in a pure and radiant body. Should they forget a single passage or sentence,
I shall prompt them so that they understand it thoroughly. Should those of such virtue
explain this sutra to the fourfold assembly, or read or recite it in secluded places, they will be able to see me. Should they be dwelling in secluded places, I shall send gods, dragon kings, yakshas, ghost spirits, and others to be an audience in their Dharma assemblies. These people will delight in teaching the Dharma and explain it in detail without obstruction, because they will be protected and cherished by all Buddhas. They will cause the assembly to rejoice greatly. Should people draw near to these Dharma teachers, they will quickly realize the Bodhisattva path. Those who follow these teachers in study will meet Buddhas as numerous as the Ganges sands. End of Dharma Teacher, Chapter 10. The jewel Stupa appears, Chapter 11. At the time there manifested before the Buddha a stupa made of the 7 treasures, 500 yojanas in height and 250 yojanas square. It emerged from the earth and remained suspended in space. Along with all kinds of precious objects, it had 5,000 railings, thousands of niches, and countless banners and pendants as adornments. Hanging from it were jewel necklaces and 10,000 coatis of jewel bells. The fragrance of Tamalapatra Chandana issued from its 4 sides, filling the entire world. Its pendants and canopies were made of the 7 treasures, gold, silver, bitumen, giant clamshell, carnelian, pearl, and rhodonite, and reached up toward the palaces of the 4 heavenly kings. From the heaven of the 32,
heavenly mandava flowers rained
down as an offering to the jewel stupa. All the gods, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, maharagas, humans and non-humans, thousands upon thousands of coatis of them, made offerings of all kinds of flowers, incense, jewel necklaces, pendants, canopies, and music to the jewel stupa, honoring it with reverence and praise. Then from the stupa emerged a tremendous voice, saying in praise,
Good indeed,
Lord Honorable Shakyamuni, with impartial wisdom, you are able to teach the great multitudes the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, the Dharma for the teaching of Bodhisattvas, and protected and cherished by all Buddhas. So it is, Lord Honorable Shakyamuni, that which you have expounded is truly real. Just as the fourfold assembly, seeing the great jewel stupa remain suspended in space, and hearing the voice from within, all gain Dharma joy, and marvel at this unprecedented occurrence. Rising from their seats, they reverently place their palms together, and withdrew to one side. Just then the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, by the name of great eloquence, knowing the doubts in the minds of the gods, humans, asuras, and others from all the worlds, said to the Buddha, World Honored One, for what reason has this jewel stupa emerged from the earth, and why does this voice come forth? Then the Buddha said to Bodhisattva, great eloquence, within this jewel stupa is the complete body of the Tathagata. Long ago, countless tens of millions of coatis of asamkhya of worlds to the east, in a land called Jewel Purity,
there was a Buddha known
as many treasures. When that Buddha was practicing the Bodhisattva path, he made a great vow.
After I have become a Buddha
and have passed into parinirvana, if the Dharma法華 Sutra is being taught in any of the lands throughout the 10 directions, my stupa shall appear to listen to this sutra and bear witness to the excellence of his teaching with the words of praise. Good indeed. After the Buddha had realized Buddhahood, and before he entered parinirvana, he said to the bhikshu among the great multitudes of gods and humans, After my parinirvana, those who wish to make offering to my complete body should build a large stupa. Using his spiritual skills and the power of vows, that Buddha will make his true stupa appear in worlds throughout the 10 directions. Wherever anyone teaches the Dharma Flower Sutra, his complete body contained in the stupa will say in praise, good indeed, good indeed. Great eloquence, the stupa of Tathagata many treasures has now emerged from the earth, so that he may listen to the Dharma Flower Sutra and say in praise, good indeed, good indeed. Then Bodhisattva great eloquence, by means of the spiritual power of the Tathagata, said to the Buddha, World Owner One, we all wish to see this Buddha's body. The Buddha said to Bodhisattva Mahasattva great eloquence, this Buddha many treasures made a profound and sincere vow.
When my jewel
stupa appears in the presence of the Buddhas to listen to the Dharma Flower Sutra, if any of them wishes to show my body to the fourfold ascending, then the transformation bodies of those Buddhas who are teaching this Dharma in the world throughout the 10 directions will have to return and gather together in one place. Afterward, my body will appear. Great eloquence, all my transformation bodies, which are teaching the Dharma in the world throughout the 10 directions, shall now gather together. Great eloquence said to the Buddha, World Owner One, we also wish to see the transformation bodies of the World Owner One, and to bow and make offerings to them. At that time the Buddha emitted a ray of light from the white curl of hair between his eyebrows that made visible the Buddhas in length of the east, equal in number to the grains of sand in 5 million kotis of nayotas of Ganges River. All those lands had ground made of crystal,
and were adorned with
jewel trees and jewel garments. They were filled with innumerable tens of millions of kotis of bodhisattvas. Jewel curtains were hung everywhere, and jewel nets were spread above. The Buddhas in those lands were teaching the Dharma with wondrous resonant voices. The innumerable tens of millions of kotis of bodhisattvas filling those lands were also seen teaching the Dharma to the multitudes. All the lands to the southwest, north, and the four intermediate directions, above and below, wherever the white curl of hair casts its light, were all like this. At that time, all the Buddhas of the 10 directions addressed the multitudes of bodhisattvas, saying, Good men, we shall now go to the Saha world, the realm of Buddha Shakyamuni, and make offerings to the Stupa of Tathagata many treasures. Then the Saha world was immediately purified. The ground was made of Vaidya and was adorned with jewel trees. Its 8 rows were bordered
with golden cords.
There were no towns, villages, cities, oceans, rivers, streams, mountains, brooks, forests, or thickets. Precious incense was burning, and mandarava flowers were strewn all over the ground. Jewel nets covering about, with jewel bells hanging down from them. The assembly alone remained, all other gods and humans having been removed to other lands. Then each of the Buddhas brought with him one great bodhisattva as an attendant, and traveled to the Saha world, where he settled at the base of a jewel tree. Each jewel tree was 500 yojanas in height, and adorned with branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits in their proper places. At the base of each jewel tree was a land thrown 5 yojanas in height, and bedecked with great treasures. The Buddhas then seated themselves in the lotus posture on these thrones. In this way they filled up the trichiliocosm, and still there was not room enough to see the transformation bodies of Shakyamuni Buddha from even one direction. Then Shakyamuni Buddha, wishing to accommodate all of his transformation bodies, transformed 2 million kotis of nayotas of lands in each of the 8 directions, purifying them all, and freed them of hell's hungry ghosts, animals, and asuras. The gods and humans were also moved to other lands. The lands he transformed were made of Vaidurya and were adorned with jewel trees, 500 yojanas in height, and decorated with branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits in their proper places. At the base of each tree was a jewel lion throne, 5 yojanas in height, and adorned with various treasures.
There were no oceans,
Rivers or streams, no Muchilinda or Mahamuchilinda mountains, no ring of iron or great ring of iron mountains, and no Mount Sumeru or any other king of mountains. All these lands were then joined together into a single Buddha land. The jewel ground was flat and even, covered entirely with jewel-strewn curtains, and hung with pendants and canopies. Precious incense was burning, and precious heavenly flowers were strewn all over the ground. In order to prepare seats for the Buddhas who were yet to arrive, Shakyamuni Buddha then transformed an additional 2 million kotis of nayotas of lands in each of the 8 directions, purifying them all and freeing them of hell's hungry ghosts, animals and ashuras. The gods and humans were also moved to other lands. The lands he transformed were made of Vaidurya and were adorned with jewel trees, 500 yojana in height, and decorated with branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, each in its proper place.
At the base of each
tree was a jewel lion throne, 5 yojanas in height, and adorned with great treasures. There were no ocean, rivers, or streams, no Muchilinda or Mahamuchilinda mountains, no ring of iron or great ring of iron mountains, and no Mount Sumeru or any other king of mountains. All these lands were then joined together into a single Buddha land. The jewel ground was flat and even, covered entirely with jewel-strewn curtains, and hung with pendants and canopies. Precious incense was burning, and precious heavenly flowers were strewn all over the ground. Then the transformation bodies of Shakyamuni Buddha from the east, each teaching the Dharma in lands equal in number to the grains of sand, in billions of kotis of nayotas of Ganges River, assembled there. The Buddhas of the 10 directions likewise arrive one after another to assemble there, taking their seats in the 8 directions. At that time the Buddhas Tathagatas filled 4 million kotis of nayotas of lands in each direction. At that time each Buddha was sitting on a lion throne beneath a jewel tree. Each sent an attendant to inquire after Shakyamuni Buddha and to carry precious flowers with both hands, saying,
Good men,
go to Valtraki, where Shakyamuni Buddha is, and relay my words. Are you free of illness and distress? Are you full of energy and at ease? Are the multitudes of bodhisattvas and sravakas at peace? Then scatter these precious flowers over the Buddha as an offering and say, the Buddha so-and-so wishes the jewel stupa to be opened. All the Buddhas and attendants to make similar requests. Then Shakyamuni Buddha, seeing that his transformation bodies had all assembled and were seated on their lion thrones, and hearing that all the Buddhas expressed the same wish, that the jewel stupa be opened, rose from his seat and remained suspended in space. The fourfold assembly, rising with palms together, single-mindedly gazed upward on the Buddha.
Thereupon Shakyamuni Buddha, with the fingers
of his right hand, opened the door of the stupa of the 7 churches, making a great sound as if unlocking the bolt of a large city gate. Thereupon the entire assembly saw Tathagata many churches inside the jewel stupa, seated upon the lion throne, his whole body composed as if he were in samadhi. They also heard him say, good indeed, good indeed. Shakyamuni Buddha quickly explained the Dharma Flower Sutra. I have come to listen to it. At that time the fourfold assembly, witnessing the Buddha, who had entered parinirvana countless tens of millions of kotis of eons ago, speaking these words, marveled at this unprecedented occasion, then scattered heaps of precious heavenly flowers over Buddha many churches and Shakyamuni Buddha. At that time, Buddha many treasures in the jewel stupa offered half his seat to Shakyamuni Buddha, saying, Shakyamuni Buddha, you may have a seat here. Thereupon Shakyamuni Buddha entered the stupa and sat in four lotus on half that seat. At that time, the great assembly, seeing the two Tathagatas sitting in the stupa of the seven treasures, in four lotus on the lion throne, all had this thought: the Buddha is sitting high above and far away. We sincerely hope that the Tathagatas will use
their spiritual powers
to enable us to remain in space with them. The entire assembly was then born of in space. Through Shakyamuni Buddha's spiritual powers, with a great voice he addressed the fourfold assembly, saying, who in this Saha world can extensively expound this wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra? Now is the right time, for the Tathagata will shortly enter Parinirvana. The Buddha wishes to bequeath to that person the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra. Then the world owner one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse. The sage Lord, the world owner one, although he long ago entered Parinirvana, within his true stupa, has come here for the Dharma. How can we go diligently
practice the Dharma?
Although this Buddha passed into Parinirvana
countless eons ago,
he goes from place to place to listen to the Dharma, for it is difficult to encounter. It was that Buddha's past vow: after my Parinirvana, I will go everywhere in order to hear this Dharma. My transformation bodies, countless Buddhas equal in number to the Ganges sands, have come here wishing to listen to the Dharma and to behold Tathagata many treasures, who has already entered Parinirvana. Each has abandoned his wondrous lands and his multitudes of disciples, gods, people, dragons, and spirits, with their various offerings, have come here to ensure that the Dharma abides forever. In order to see these Buddhas, I have used my spiritual powers to remove
the countless multitudes
and purify the lands. Each of the Buddhas takes his place beneath a jewel tree, just as a lotus adorns a clean and limpid pond. Under the jewel trees are lion thrones, upon which the Buddhas sit, radiating splendor, like great torches gleaming in the darkness of the night. Their bodies emit a delicate fragrance, pervading the lands in the 10 directions. The scent envelops all beings, overwhelming them with joy, just as a great wind blows through small branches. By virtue of this skillful means, the Dharma will remain forever. To the great assembly I say, after my Parinirvana, whoever can protect, uphold, and explain this sutra should now, in the presence of the Buddha, announce his vow. Although Buddha many treasures entered Parinirvana long ago, because of his great vow, he still utters the lion roar. Tathagata many treasures, as well as myself, and the transformation Buddhas here assembled, will know of your intention. All of you disciples of Buddha, whoever can protect this Dharma, should make a great vow to ensure that the Dharma will long abide. Whoever can protect the Dharma of this sutra will thereby have made offering to me and many treasures. This Buddha many treasures, dwelling in the jewel stupa, always travels throughout the 10 directions for the sake of this sutra. Such people will also have made offerings to the transformation Buddhas assembled here, who adore the worlds with splendor. To teach this sutra is to see me, Tathagata many treasures, and all the transformation Buddhas. All of you good men, think it over carefully. This is a difficult matter, requiring a great vow. It is not difficult to explain other sutras, as many as the Ganges says. If one were to take Mount Sumeru and toss it to another land, across numberless Buddha lands, that would not be difficult either. nor will it be difficult to dislodge the triangular cosm with a toe and throw it far to a distant land, to stand on the summit of existence and teach the multitudes countless other sutras. That too would not be difficult. But after the Buddha's parinirvana, to explain this sutra in a troubled age will be difficult. If someone were to hold empty space in his hand and travel about with it, that would not be difficult. But if after my parinirvana, one writes out or upholds this sutra, or encourages others to write it out, that will be difficult. If one were to place the earth on one's toenails and ascend to the Brahma heavens, that too would not be difficult. After the Buddha's parinirvana, in a troubled age, to read this sutra for but an instant, that will be difficult. If during the fire the years end, one carry a load of dry grass and enter the fire without being burned, that would not be difficult. After my parinirvana, if one can uphold this sutra and explain it to even one person, that will be difficult. If one upheld 84,000 Dharma treasuries and explain it to others, the 12 categories of sutra text, enabling all listeners to attain the 6 spiritual skills, even if one could do this, that would not be difficult. But if after my parinirvana, one hears this sutra and inquires into its meaning, that will be difficult. If one were to bring benefit to tens of millions of cotis of beings, as many as the grains of sand, in countless numberless Ganges rivers, by teaching them the Dharma, enabling them to attain arhatship and perfect the 6 spiritual skills, it would not be considered difficult. But after my parinirvana, if one can uphold a sutra like this, that will be difficult indeed. I, for the sake of Buddhahood, throughout countless lands, from the beginning of time until now, have extensively taught all the sutras. Among them this sutra is foremost. Whoever can uphold it is preserving the Buddha's body. Good man, after my parinirvana, let whoever can uphold read and recite this sutra. Now in the presence of the Buddha, proclaim his vow. This sutra is difficult to uphold. If one upholds it for but an instant, I shall rejoice, as will all the Buddhas. One such as this shall be praised by all Buddhas. This is courage, this is vigor, this is called upholding precepts, and the practice of the dukkha. He shall then quickly realize supreme Buddhahood. If in the future one reads and upholds this sutra, he will then be a true disciple of the Buddha, dwelling on the pure good ground. After the Buddha's parinirvana, if one can understand its meaning, he will act as eyes for all the gods and humans in the world. In a world full of terror and fear, if one explains this sutra for but an instant, all gods and humans will make offerings to him. End of the jewel Stupa appears. Chapter 11, the wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra. Namo Sammanto Moto Na Polati Hato Chajanami Anjimi Jimi Dantaka Namo Ashanting Polati Buddha Moda Moda Daka Namo Wahong Pansoa Namo Sammanto Moto Na Polati Hato Chajanami Anjimi Jimi Dantaka Namo Ashanting Polati Buddha Moda Moda Daka Namo Wahong Pansoa Namo Sammanto Moto Na Polati Hato Chajanami Anjimi Jimi Dantaka Namo Ashanting Polati Buddha Moda Moda Daka Namo Wahong Pansoa. Guan Yin praise. Bodhisattva Guan Yin is wonderful past gratitude, pure and clear are her adornments, gained through practice ages long. See vast red lotus flower, fragrant rests beneath her foot. A curve of an autumn moon is in the crescent of her brows. Everywhere and constantly sweet dew sprinkles from her vase. In her hand the veil of precious. In her hand the veil of precious, the countless altars praise depart 1,000 hearts. In 1,000 hearts she answers, sailing the sea of suffering, crossing people over. Namo greatly kind and compassionate Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Potola mountain and observes the songs of the world. Namo greatly kind and compassionate Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Potola mountain and observes the songs of the world. Namo greatly kind and compassionate Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Potola mountain and observes the songs of the world. Namo Guan Yin Pu Sai. 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 Namo Guan Yin. Pu Sai. May the merit from this practice adorn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear of this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss. 3 bows. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master.